Hey everyone, tonight, I'm standing on my front porch, the air thick with the stench of burning rubber and the red-blue pulse of police lights slicing through the darkness. My heart's pounding, my fists clenched so tight, my nails dig into my palms because across the lawn, she's screaming again. Jovita, my nightmare neighbor, her voice like a chainsaw tearing through the quiet of this suburban street. People like you don't last here, Kendra. She shrieks, her silhouette wild against the glow of her porch light, pointing at me like I'm some kind of intruder. You probably wouldn't last a week living next to someone like this. So, before you settle in, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you actually want more raw stories like this. Drop a comment below. Where are you listening from? And have you ever had a neighbor who made your life hell? Now take a deep breath, because here's everything you never knew about the war. I survived on my own front lawn. It started 6 months ago when I moved into this quiet cul-de-sac, chasing a fresh start after a brutal divorce. I'm Kendra, by the way, 34, stubborn as hell, and not the type to back down. The house was perfect white picket fence rose bushes, the kind of place you'd see in a magazine. But the second I pulled into the driveway, Jovita was there, arms crossed, staring from her porch like I'd just kicked her dog. Her house right next to mine was a mirror image of my own, but hers had this aggressive vibe, gnomes with chipped faces, a lawn sign that read, "Keep out" in block letters. I waved, trying to be friendly. She didn't wave back. Instead, she muttered something under her breath and slammed her door. I brushed it off. New neighbor, maybe she's shy. God, was I wrong. The first week it was small things. Her music blared at 2 a.m., heavy bass rattling my windows. I'd knock politely, ask her to turn it down. She'd smirk, say free country, and crank it louder. Then my mailbox started disappearing one day. It was there the next. It was in her trash can, bent like someone had taken a bat to it. I confronted her standing on her porch, the air smelling of her overwatered petunias. Jovita, did you touch my mailbox? I asked, keeping my voice steady. She laughed a sharp, ugly sound and said, "Prove it, princess." That's when she leaned in close, her breath sour with cheap wine, and hissed, "People like you don't last here." I froze, rage boiling in my chest, but I walked away. I wasn't going to let her win that easily. By week 3, it was war. She'd toss cigarette butts over the fence into my yard, knowing I'd spent hours planting tulips. I'd find them scattered like tiny landmines stinking up the soil. One night, I caught her on my security camera, sneaking onto my lawn with a bag of dog crap, smearing it on my front door handle. I banged on her door at dawn, footage in hand, screaming, "You think this is funny?" She just shrugged. Said, "Maybe you should move." I wanted to slap that smirk off her face, but instead, I started plotting. I wasn't going anywhere. If Jovita wanted a fight, she'd get one. The breaking point came on a muggy Tuesday evening. I'd just gotten home from work, bone-tired, when I saw her in my driveway spray painting "Go Home" in neon orange across my garage door. My vision went red. I stormed over, grabbed the can from her hand, and threw it into her yard. "What's your problem?" I yelled. She got in my face, spitting, "You don't belong here, Kendra. You're loud, you're nosy, and I'll make sure you leave." That's when the cops showed up. Someone must have called them. They separated us, told us to keep the peace. But as Jovita glared at me, I made a decision. I wasn't just going to fight back. I was going to destroy her game. That night, I couldn't sleep, my mind racing. I sat on my couch, the house silent, except for the hum of the fridge, and started digging. I Googled her name, scrolled through public records, anything to find leverage. Around 3 a.m., I hit gold, a real estate listing. Her cousin's house, 2 doors down, was up for sale. It was a long shot, but an idea sparked, wild and reckless. What if I bought it? What if I got so close to Jovita she couldn't breathe without me knowing? I called the realtor at dawn, my voice shaking with adrenaline. "I want to make an offer," I said. The plan was insane, but it felt right. I was done playing defense. Jovita thought she could scare me off. She was about to learn who she was dealing with. The realization hit me like a freight train. This wasn't just about surviving her anymore. It was about taking control, turning her own tactics against her. I stared out my window at her house, the porch light flickering like a warning. She'd pushed me too far, and now I was going to push back hard. The war had just begun, and I was ready to play dirty. The morning after I found the real estate listing, I'm pacing my living room, coffee gone cold in my mug, the phone burning a hole in my hand. Jovita's words. "People like you don't last here," loop in my head like a bad song, each syllable stoking the fire in my gut. I can still see her smirk the way she tossed that spray paint can like she owned the whole damn street. But now I've got something she doesn't expect to plan. The cousin's house is my ticket to flipping this war in my favor. But first, I've got to survive her next move. Because Jovita. She's not slowing down. If anything, she's doubling down. And this time, she's got the HOA in her pocket. It's barely 8 a.m. when I hear the crunch of gravel outside. I peek through the blinds and there's Jovita standing in my driveway with a clipboard pointing at my tulip beds like they're a crime scene. Next to her is a guy in a polo shirt, HOA badge clipped to his chest, nodding like she's preaching gospel. My stomach twists. She's not just coming for me, she's weaponizing the neighborhood. I grab my phone, start recording through the window, catching her gesturing wildly. Her voice carrying snatches of eyesore and violations. I'm no fool. I know what this is. She's trying to bury me in fines, make me look like the problem. By noon, I've got a certified letter from the HOA slapped on my door. It's a violation notice my tulips are non-compliant with the neighborhood's color scheme and my fence is 3 inches too tall. 3 inches. I laugh, but it's bitter, the kind of laugh that hides a scream. The fine's $500 due in 10 days or they'll escalate to a lien. I'm shaking as I read it, not from fear but from rage. Jovita's playing chess and this is her opening gambit. She thinks she can nickel and dime me out of my own home. But she's not the only one who can play dirty. I spend the afternoon digging deeper into her life, my laptop glowing in the dim kitchen. Public records are a gold mine if you know where to look. I find her cousin's name, some guy named Carl, lives out of state, and confirm the house 2 doors down is his. It's still for sale, listed at a price I can just barely swing with a second mortgage. My savings are thin, but I'm past caring about sensible. This is war. I call the realtor again, push for a viewing tomorrow. I'm serious, I tell her, my voice steel. Cash offer quick, close. She hesitates, then agrees. I hang up, heart racing, knowing this is my first real strike. But Jovita's not done. That evening I step outside to water my non-compliant tulips, and my hose is slashed clean cuts like someone took a box cutter to it. The grass around it is littered with more cigarette butts, her calling card. I snap photos, my hands trembling, and march to her door. She opens it before I can knock like she's been waiting. Problem? She sneers, leaning against the frame, her hair a mess of curls like a crown of spite. You did this, I say, holding up my phone with the photos. She laughs, steps closer, her breath hot with that same cheap wine stink. You're paranoid, Kendra. Maybe you should see a shrink. I don't back down. I'm not going anywhere, I snap. And I'm done with your games. That's when she makes her mistake. She leans in, voice low, and says, I've got friends in this neighborhood. You'll be gone before summer. It's a threat, but it's also a slip. Friends. The HOA guy, maybe others. My mind races cataloging names, faces from the last neighborhood meeting. I smile tight and cold and walk away. She thinks she's got me cornered, but she's just given me a map. The next morning, I'm at the cousin's house for the viewing, the realtor droning on about hardwood floors and great bones. It's a fixer-upper, but it's perfect, close enough to Jovita's to make her sweat. I sign the offer papers on the spot, my pen shaking with adrenaline. As I drive back, I pass her house, and she's out front glaring. I wave, slow and deliberate, and her face twists like she's swallowed glass. Good. Let her wonder. But the HOA's not done with me. That afternoon, another notice arrives. This time, it's about my car parked improperly in my own driveway. Another $200 fine. I'm at my kitchen table, papers spread out, when I notice something. The HOA president's signature on both notices matches a name from Jovita's Facebook, her old high school buddy Maureen. I cross-reference the HOA board list, and there it is, Maureen Treasurer. My blood runs hot. Jovita's not just harassing me. She's got the HOA rigged. I head to the next HOA meeting armed with printouts and my phone's footage. The room's packed, neighbors whispering, Jovita smirking from the front row. Maureen calls the meeting to order, and I stand voice steady. I have evidence of biased enforcement, I say, holding up the notices. These violations are personal, and I can prove it. The room goes silent. Maureen stammers, but I keep going, showing the footage of Jovita in my driveway, the slashed hose, the cigarette butts. This isn't about rules, I say. It's about her. I point at Jovita, whose smirk is gone, replaced by a flush of panic. The crowd murmurs, heads turning. Maureen adjourns the meeting early, but I've done it. I've cracked their alliance. Driving home, I feel it a shift. I'm not just reacting anymore. I'm hunting. Jovita's got her friends, but I've got proof, and now the neighborhood's watching. The cousin's house is my next move, but this HOA fight, it's my first real win. I pull into my driveway, the orange go home still faint on my garage door, and smile. She's about to learn what happens when you push someone like me too far. I'm standing in the empty living room of Carl's house, Jovita's cousin's place, 2 days after the HOA meeting. The smell of stale carpet and fresh paint stinging my nose. My offer was accepted last night, a cash deal that drained my savings and maxed out a second mortgage. But I don't care. This house, just 2 doors down from Jovita, is my warhead. I can still hear her threat from that night in my driveway. You'll be gone before summer, and now I'm about to plant myself so close she'll choke on my presence. But as I sign the final papers, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. You're making a big mistake. My pulse spikes. It's her. It has to be. And when I step outside, she's waiting, ready to explode. The realtor's still jabbering about closing dates as I walk out to the front yard, but I stop dead. Jovita's there in the middle of the street, arms crossed, eyes like daggers. The cul-de-sac is quiet, the air heavy with the threat of rain, and neighbors are peeking through blinds, sensing a storm. You think you're clever, Kendra? She shouts, her voice echoing off the houses. Buying Carl's place. You're pathetic. I square my shoulders, gripping the house keys so tight they bite my palm. It's a free country, Jovita, I say, throwing her own words back at her. You don't get to decide where I live. Her face twists and she charges toward me, stopping inches away, her breath hot and sour. You'll regret this, she hisses. I don't flinch. Try me. The confrontation's been brewing since I exposed her at the HOA meeting. That night I'd seen the cracks in her armor, Maureen's nervous stammer, the neighbor's whispers. But Jovita's not backing down. She's escalating. Yesterday I found my car's tires slashed 4 clean cuts. No proof it was her, but her cigarette butts scattered nearby. I reported it to the cops, but they just took a statement, said, it's he said, she said. Now standing in the street, I realize she knows about the house. Someone, maybe Carl, maybe Maureen, tipped her off. She's cornered, and she's furious. I turn to walk away, but she grabs my arm, nails digging in. You're not welcome here, she screams loud enough that a dog across the street starts barking. I yank free, my skin stinging, and point at her. Touch me again, and I'm pressing charges. A neighbor, some guy in a flannel, steps onto his porch phone, out recording. Jovita notices, and for a split second her bravado falters. I seize it. What's wrong? Jovita, scared of an audience. Her eyes dart to the neighbor, then back to me, and she steps back, muttering, This isn't over. She storms off, slamming her front door so hard the gnomes on her lawn wobble. I'm shaking, adrenaline flooding my veins, but I feel it power. She's rattled. That night, I'm back in my house, blinds drawn, poring over the closing documents for Carl's place. The plan's simple but brutal move and be her shadow make her life as miserable as she's made mine. I'm not just fighting to stay, I'm fighting to dominate. But as I sip lukewarm coffee, my security camera app pings. I open it and there's Jovita skulking near my fence at 1 a.m., a can of spray paint in her hand. My heart races. She's bold but sloppy. I hit record, capturing her shaking the can, glancing around, then spraying something on my fence. I don't run out. I'm done with her traps. Instead, I save the footage, email it to the cops, and add it to my growing file. She's digging her own grave. The next morning, I check the damage. My fence now reads "Leave" in dripping red paint, the letters uneven, like she was shaking with rage. I snap photos, then call a contractor to quote repairs, keeping every receipt. This isn't just about the fence, it's evidence. But as I'm hosing off the paint, Maureen pulls up in her shiny SUV, HOA badge gleaming. "Kendra, we've had complaints about noise from your property," she says, her voice syrupy with fake concern. I laugh, pointing at the fence. "Noise? How about vandalism?" She glances at the paint, then away, like it's nothing. "File a report," she says coolly. "But the board's watching you." It's a threat, and it confirms what I suspected: Maureen's still Jovita's puppet. I spend the day prepping for the move, packing boxes while keeping one eye on my cameras. The cousin's house closes in a week, and I'm already planning my first strike, a housewarming party, loud and public, to show Jovita I'm not hiding. But that afternoon, another HOA notice arrives. My porch light's too bright, another $100 fine. I'm livid, but I see the pattern. They're trying to drown me in paperwork, make me crack. I fire off an email to the HOA attaching the vandalism footage and demanding a meeting. "I'm not paying a dime until you address this," I write. It's a long shot, but I'm betting Maureen's scared of more exposure. By evening, I'm exhausted, sitting on my couch with a glass of wine, the house silent except for the creak of the floorboards. I replay the street fight in my head, Jovita's nails on my arm, the neighbor's phone catching it all. That's when it hits me. The neighborhood's not just watching, they're choosing sides. Flannel Guy's video is probably circulating, and Jovita's losing her grip. I check my phone, and there's a new email from the realtor closing set for Monday. I smile slow and sharp. I'm not just moving in, I'm invading her world. The shift is electric. I'm no longer the victim dodging her attacks. I'm the hunter now, and Jovita's the one who should be scared. As I drift to sleep, the image of her panicked face in the street burns bright. She thought she could break me, but she's about to learn what happens when you push someone with nothing left to lose. I'm hauling boxes into Carl's house, my new stronghold, on a muggy Monday afternoon, the ink barely dry on the closing papers. The air smells of fresh asphalt and Jovita's overwatered petunias, a sickly sweet reminder that she's just 2 houses away, probably watching me through her blinds. My arms ache, my bank account screaming, but every step into this house feels like a middle finger to her. "You'll be gone before summer," she'd said. Well, summer's here, and I'm not just staying, I'm closing in. But as I unpack, her harassment kicks into overdrive, and a late-night discovery flips the script, handing me a weapon I didn't expect. The move's chaotic. I'm splitting time between my original house and this one, keeping both under lock and key. My security cameras are up, blinking red in the dusk because Jovita's not subtle. Last night, I caught her on video again, tossing eggs at my old place's windows, the yolks drying into a crusty mess by morning. I saved the footage, added it to my file for the cops, but it's not enough. She's relentless. This morning, I found my new mailbox stuffed with rotting fish, the stench so bad I gagged while scraping it out. Her cigarette butts were scattered around it, her signature. I don't confront her. Not yet. I'm playing the long game and she's giving me ammunition. By evening, I'm in the new house stacking dishes in the kitchen when I hear a low, rhythmic thumping from her place. It's her music again, bass so heavy it rattles the glasses in my cabinets. It's 10 p.m. and she's testing me, seeing if I'll snap. I don't. Instead, I grab my phone record, the noise, and email the HOA with a noise complaint attaching the egg-throwing footage for good measure. Address this, or I'm escalating, I write. Maureen's been dodging me since the last meeting, but I know she's sweating. The neighborhood's buzzing flannel guy's video of our street fight is circulating on the community Facebook page, and comments are split. Some call Jovita a bully. Others say I'm stirring drama. I don't care. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win. The thumping stops around midnight, and I'm in the new house's backyard checking the fence for damage when I spot something glinting in the grass. I crouch, heart pounding, and pick it up, a small rusted key half buried near the property line. It's not mine. I glance at Jovita's house, her porch light casting long shadows, and my gut twists. This key's from her side. She must have dropped it. I pocket it, mind racing. It could be nothing, or it could be everything. I spend the next hour scouring the yard, flashlight in hand, but find nothing else. Back inside, I lock the key in a drawer, promising myself I'll figure out what it opens. The next day, her attacks get bolder. I'm at my old house, watering the tulips she got me fined for, when I hear a crash. My front window shattered, a brick lying in the glass on my living room floor. My blood boils, but I don't scream. I call the cops, show them the brick, the cigarette butts nearby, and my growing stack of videos. The officer, a tired guy with a notepad, sighs. We'll talk to her, but without a witness, it's tough. I nod, but I'm done waiting for justice. As he leaves, I see Jovita on her porch, smirking. I wave, slow and deliberate, and her smile falters. She knows I'm not breaking. That afternoon, I'm back at the new house installing extra cameras when a neighbor, Mrs. Ellis, a sweet older lady from across the street, knocks. "Kendra?" she whispers, glancing at Jovita's house. "Be careful. She's been telling people you're trouble." I thank her, but her words confirm what I suspected. Jovita's spinning a narrative, trying to isolate me. I invite Mrs. Ellis and offer her tea and casually ask about Jovita's past. She hesitates, then spills Jovita's been in the neighborhood for years, always stirring trouble, but her cousin Carl used to keep her in check. When he moved, she says she got worse. I file that away. Carl's absence is her power. My owning his house is her weakness. That night, I'm up late staring at the key I found. It's old, maybe for a shed or a lockbox. I'm tempted to test it on her property, but that's too risky. Instead, I dig online, searching Carl's name tied to Jovita's address. Around 2 a.m., I find a county record, a permit for a storage shed in her backyard, filed under Carl's name years ago. My pulse spikes. The key might open it. Whatever's in there, tools, junk, or something worse, could be leverage. I don't act yet, but the discovery changes everything. I'm not just reacting anymore. I'm closing in on her secrets. The shift hits me as I lie in bed, the new house creaking around me. Jovita's escalating because she's scared. She knows I'm not leaving, and now I'm in her cousin's house, steps from her life. The brick, the fish, the music, it's desperation, not strength. I clutch the key in my fist, its edges biting my skin. Tomorrow, I'll plan my housewarming party, loud and unavoidable, to rub my victory in her face. But the key, that's my ace, and when I play it, she'll wish she'd never crossed me. I'm sitting in the community center, the air thick with the smell of burnt coffee and cheap air freshener, as the HOA meeting descends into chaos. My hands grip a folder stuffed with evidence, screenshots, videos, and that damn key I haven't used yet, while Jovita glares at me from across the room, her arms crossed like she's daring me to speak. It's been 3 days since I found the key in the grass, 2 since I moved into Carl's house, and the tension between us is a live wire. Tonight, the HOA's trying to bury me with more fines, but I'm ready to flip the script. When I expose Jovita's lies, the room turns and I realize I'm not just fighting her, I'm dismantling her entire game. The meeting starts with Maureen, the HOA treasurer, and Jovita's high school crony droning about community standards. I'm barely listening, my eyes locked on Jovita, who's whispering to a couple of neighbors, her smirk sharp as a blade. Then Maureen calls my name, her voice dripping with fake concern. Kendra, we've received multiple complaints about your property's noise vandalism, non-compliant landscaping. She slides a new violation notice across the table, $750, for disruptive behavior at both houses. The room murmurs, and I feel the weight of every stare. Jovita's practically glowing, thinking she's got me pinned. I stand, my voice steady despite the rage burning in my chest. This is harassment, I say, holding up the folder. And I can prove it. I start with the footage, Jovita egging my windows, spray painting my fence, tossing fish in my mailbox. The projector hums, casting her crimes on the wall for all to see. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Maureen tries to interrupt, but I keep going, showing the slashed hose, the brick through my window, the cigarette butts she leaves like breadcrumbs. These aren't complaints, I say, pointing at Jovita. They're her vendetta. Her face goes pale, her smirk gone, and I feel a surge of triumph. But Maureen's not done. She bangs her gavel voice shrill. This is irrelevant. The fines stand. That's when I drop my bomb. I pull out a printed email chain I found by digging through public HOA records, Maureen and Jovita coordinating to target me, calling me that outsider and planning creative fines. I read it aloud, my voice cutting through the room. You're not enforcing rules, Maureen. You're helping her bully me. The crowd erupts, neighbors shouting, some at Maureen, others at Jovita. A guy in the back, flannel guy from the street fight, yells, "This is a disgrace." Maureen stammering, her authority crumbling, and Jovita's frozen, her eyes darting like a trapped animal. The climactic blow comes when I turn to the board. I'm calling for a vote to remove Maureen as treasurer, I say, citing HOA bylaws I memorized last night. She's abused her power, and I have the evidence. The room's a powder keg. Half the neighbors are nodding, the other half shouting objections. Jovita leaps up screaming, "You can't do this! You don't belong here!" But it's too late. Mrs. Ellis, the sweet older lady, seconds my motion, and the vote's set for next week. Maureen adjourns the meeting in a panic, and as people file out, I catch whispers of support. "Good for you," someone mutters. "She's been a problem for years," says another. Jovita storms out, not meeting my eyes. Driving home, my hands shake on the wheel, adrenaline and victory mixing like a drug. I park at Carl's house, my new base, and check my cameras. No new vandalism, but I know she's not done. That night, I'm in this kitchen, the key from her yard burning a hole in my pocket. I still haven't tested it, but the shed permit I found online keeps nagging me. Whatever's in there, it's her weak spot, and I'm close to cracking it. I pour a glass of wine, replaying the meeting in my head. Jovita's panic, Maureen's collapse. I'm not just surviving her attacks anymore. I'm turning her allies against her. But the blowback hits at 2 a.m. My phone pings with a camera alert. I open the app, and there's a figure in a hoodie near my old house spray painting something on the garage. It's not Jovita, too tall, too broad, but I'd bet my life she sent them. The paint reads, "Watch your back." My heart races, but I save the footage, forward it to the cops, and add it to my file. It's a desperate move, and it tells me she's scared. She's losing control, and she knows it. The realization settles as I lie in bed, the new house's silence wrapping around me. Tonight wasn't just a win, it was a turning point. The neighborhood's splitting, and I've got momentum. Jovita's got her friends, but I've got proof, and now I've got voices on my side. The key in my pocket feels heavier, a promise of what's coming. Tomorrow, I'll plan my housewarming party, make it loud, make her squirm. But the shed, that's my end game, and when I open it, she'll wish she'd never started this war. I'm standing in my new backyard at Carl's house, the midday sun baking the grass, As I string fairy lights for the housewarming party, I've planned to rub my victory in Jovita's face. The air smells of charcoal from a neighbor's grill, but my nerves are electric wired from last night's HOA meeting where I turned the room against her and Maureen. Jovita's losing her grip, and I'm ready to push harder. Tonight's party is my next strike loud public a declaration that I'm here to stay. But when I humiliate her in front of the neighborhood, her desperate counterattack hits too close, and I realize this war's getting dangerous. The party's set them for 7 p.m., and I've gone all out a rented sound system tables, groaning with food, and invites to every neighbor except Jovita. I want her to hear the laughter, see the crowd, and choke on her own rage. By afternoon, I'm posting flyers around the cul-de-sac, each one a neon taunt. Kendra's housewarming, join the fun. I catch her watching from her porch, her face a storm cloud, and I wave, slow and deliberate. She doesn't wave back, just slams her door. Good, let her stew. But as I hammer a flyer into a telephone pole, I notice my car parked at my old house has a new dent in the hood, fresh scratches spelling bitch in jagged lines. No cigarette butts this time, but it's her. I snap photos, send them to the cops, and add them to my file. She's slipping, getting reckless. By 6 p.m., the party's buzzing. Mrs. Ellis brings cookies. Flannel guy, his name's Tom, shows up with a six-pack, and even the HOA's vice president. A quiet guy named Greg stops by. Music pulses, not loud enough for a noise complaint, but enough to carry. I'm chatting with Tom when I see Jovita's blinds twitch. I raise my glass toward her house, a silent toast. The neighbors are laughing, swapping stories, and I overhear Greg mutter, "Jovita's been a problem for years." I file that away, another ally. But the real blow lands when I crank the music for a dance playlist and half the cul-de-sac spills into my yard, kids running, adults swaying. I glance at Jovita's house, and her porch light flicks off like she's retreating. It's perfect. She's watching her kingdom crumble. The humiliation peaks when Tom, a little buzzed, climbs on a chair and toasts me. To Kendra, he shouts for standing up to bullies. The crowd cheers, and I feel a rush vindication power. I'm not just the new girl anymore. I'm the one who fought back. But as the party winds down around 10 p.m., I notice a figure lingering across the street near Jovita's house. It's not her too tall, same hoodie as the guy who spray-painted my garage last night. My stomach twists. I don't confront him, but I signal Tom, who's sober enough to notice. He nods, grabs his phone, and films the guy slinking away. "Got him," Tom whispers. I thank him, my mind racing. Jovita's not working alone anymore. She's sending muscle. The counterattack hits at midnight. I'm cleaning up alone in the new house when my security app pings. I open it, and my blood runs cold. My old house's backyard camera shows 2 figures, hoodies up, prying at my back door. Not Jovita, but her proxies. I call 911, my voice shaking, and grab a kitchen knife, heart hammering. The operator tells me to stay put. Cops are on the way. I lock every door, check the cameras at Carl's house, and wait, the knife heavy in my hand. Sirens wail 10 minutes later, and the figures bolt, but not before one spray paints, "Leave or else," on my patio. The cops arrive, take my statement, and find a cigarette butt near the paint, Jovita's brand. We'll question her, they say, but I know she'll dodge it. Still, I've got the footage, and now I've got witnesses. The next morning, I'm exhausted, but wired, sitting at my kitchen table with the key from Jovita's yard. The party was a win. I humiliated her, won allies, but last night's break-in attempt changes things. She's not just petty anymore. She's dangerous. I turn the key over, its edges worn, and think about the shed permit I found. Whatever's in there, it's my next move. I spend the day installing deadbolts and motion sensor lights at both houses, my hands steady despite the fear gnawing at me. Tom stops by, offers to keep an eye out. "She's unhinged," he says. "Watch your back." I nod, but I'm already planning. I'll test the key soon, but first I need to tighten the noose. The realization hits as I lie in bed, the house creaking around me. The party shifted the neighborhood. Greg, Tom, even Mrs. Ellis are on my side now. Jovita's desperate and desperate people make mistakes. The hooded figures, the threats, they're her flailing, not winning. I clutch the key, its weight a promise. Tomorrow, I'll dig deeper into the shed, maybe scout her yard at night. She thinks she can scare me off, but I'm done running. This war's mine to win, and I'm playing for keeps. It's 3 a.m., and I'm crouched in the shadows of my new backyard at Carl's house, the air damp with the threat of rain and the faint stink of Jovita's cigarette butts lingering across the fence line. My heart's hammering, the rusted key from her yard clutched in my sweaty palm as I stare at her shed barely visible through the slats of her fence. The neighborhood's dead silent, but my pulse is loud enough to wake the street. After last night's party humiliated her, and her goons tried to break into my old house, I know she's desperate, and desperate means dangerous. Tonight, I'm testing the key, but when her ambush catches me off guard, I turn the tables and my defiance cements my grip on this war. I've been planning this since the break-in attempt when those hooded figures spray-painted "Leave or Else" on my patio. The cops questioned Jovita, but she played innocent and they let it slide, no surprise. My cameras caught her cigarette butt, though, and Tom's footage of the hoodie guy from the party is in my file. She's sloppy, and I'm ready to exploit it. The shed's my target. Whatever's in there, tied to Carl's old permit, is her weak spot. I slip on dark clothes, tuck my phone in my pocket, and creep out, avoiding the motion sensor lights I installed yesterday. The key feels like a bomb, small but heavy with potential. I'm halfway to her fence when I hear it. A twig snaps sharp and close. I freeze, crouching behind a bush, my breath shallow. A shadow moves near Jovita's back door, too small to be her goons, too deliberate to be a stray cat. It's her. She's out here waiting. My stomach lurches, but I don't run. I watch silent as she paces, a flashlight beam cutting through the dark. She's muttering, her voice low and venomous, something about teaching her a lesson. She's not just paranoid, she's hunting me. The realization hits. She must have seen me moving boxes, maybe guessed I'm onto the shed. This is her ambush. I should retreat, but rage overrides fear. She thinks she can scare me off my own turf. I slip the key back in my pocket and pull out my phone, hitting record. The footage is grainy, but it's her pacing with a can of something spray paint, maybe worse. I'm about to back away when her flashlight swings toward me and I duck hard in my throat. She stops, head cocked like a predator sniffing blood. "Kendra," she calls, her voice a taunt. "I know you're out here." My blood boils. She's baiting me, but I'm done hiding. I stand, stepping into the open, my phone still recording. "Looking for me," I say loud enough to carry. She startles, the flashlight beam jerking, and for a second, I see fear in her eyes. But she recovers, striding toward the fence, her face twisted with fury. "You're trespassing," she hisses, holding up the can. It's gasoline, not paint. My skin goes cold. "Get off my property or I'll burn your little empire down." It's a bluff, but it's unhinged. I hold up my phone, the red recording light steady, smile. "Jovita, you're on camera again." Her eyes widen and she lunges at the fence, but I step back out of reach. "You're done," I say, voice steel. Threatening arson. The cops'll love this. She freezes, the gasoline can trembling in her hand, and I see it, she's cornered. The neighborhood's turning. Tom, Greg, Mrs. Ellis are on my side, and her HOA puppet Maureen is facing a vote to get ousted. She drops the can, the liquid sloshing, and mutters, "You'll regret this." But her voice cracks, and she retreats, slamming her back door. I save the footage, my hands shaking with adrenaline, and slip back to my house. I don't test the key tonight, too risky after that, but I've got something better proof she's unraveling. By morning, I'm at my kitchen table emailing the video to the cops and copying Greg, the HOA vice president. This is escalation, I write. She's a danger. I don't expect an arrest. She's slippery, but I'm building a case. Tom stops by, his face grim when I show him the footage. She's losing it, he says. Be careful. I nod, but I'm already planning. The party turned neighbors. Last night turned her threats into evidence. I'm winning, but she's dangerous now, and I need to move fast. The shift hits as I sit in the new house, the key on the table glinting in the sunlight. Last night wasn't just a close call. It was my stand. I faced her, recorded her, and walked away stronger. She's not the hunter anymore. I am. Tomorrow, I'll test the key, maybe under daylight, to avoid her traps. But for now, I'm fortifying more cameras, a meeting with Greg to push the Maureen vote. Jovita's crumbling, and I'm ready to bury her. She thought she could break me, but I'm the one breaking her world. I'm in my new kitchen at Carl's house, the morning light glinting off the rusted key on the table, my laptop open to a county records page that's about to change everything. The air smells of coffee and the faint tang of fresh paint, but my nerves are raw from last night's backyard showdown with Jovita, her gasoline can, and wild threats burned into my memory. My phone's buzzing with a text from Tom. Cops talk to her. No arrest, but she's pissed. I expected that. She's a snake, always slithering out of trouble. But today, I'm done playing defense. I'm exposing her secrets to the authorities, and when the fallout hits, her confidence shatters in a showdown that proves I'm calling the shots. After last night, I couldn't sleep, so I spent hours digging deeper into the shed permit tied to Carl's name. Around 4 a.m., I found a violation notice from 5 years ago, buried in county archives, citing unpermitted storage of hazardous materials in Jovita's backyard shed. No details on what could be paint cans, could be something worse, but it was enough to get the shed padlocked by the county until Carl paid a fine. The key in my hand, the one I found in her grass, might open that lock. My pulse races. If she's hiding something illegal, it's my kill shot. I call the county inspector's office at 8 a.m., voice steady, and report a potential hazard at her address, citing the old violation. I have a key that might access it, I say, keeping it vague. They promise to send someone tomorrow, but I don't wait for them. I need to know what's in that shed. At noon, when I'm sure Jovita's out, her car's gone, probably licking her wounds, I slip into her backyard heart, pounding the key hidden in my pocket. Her fence is flimsy, easy to hop, and the shed's in the corner, weathered but sturdy with a heavy padlock. I glance around, no neighbors watching, and test the key. It clicks. My breath catches. I don't open it, not yet. The inspector needs to see it first, make it official. But the lock turning is enough to know I've got her. I slip back to my yard, adrenaline singing in my veins, and start planning. That afternoon, I'm at my old house checking cameras when the blowback hits. A sheriff's deputy knocks, holding a restraining order. Jovita's claiming I threatened her life last night in her yard. My stomach drops, but I stay calm, showing him my footage of her with the gasoline can, her voice snarling about burning me out. She's lying, I say, handing over the video file. The deputy's skeptical but takes it, saying he'll look into it. I'm livid. She's twisting the story, trying to paint me as the villain. But her move's desperate, and I'm ready to counter. I call Tom and Greg, looping them in on the shed and the inspector. Greg's furious about the restraining order. She's scared, he says. The Maureen votes tomorrow, and she knows she's losing. I nod, but my focus is the shed. If it's bad, it's over for her. That evening, I'm back at Carl's house, drafting an email to the HOA board, attaching every piece of evidence: the vandalism, the gasoline threat, the old shed violation. Jovita's a danger, I write. Act now, or I'm escalating to the county. I hit send, my hands shaking with purpose. The showdown comes at dusk. I'm in my new front yard watering plants when Jovita's car screeches into her driveway. She storms out, face red, and marches toward me, ignoring the restraining order she just filed. You think you're smart, Kendra? She screams, neighbors peeking through windows. Calling the county. You're dead. I step forward, phone recording voice ice cold. Threaten me again, and you're in cuffs. She falters, eyes darting to Tom's house where he's filming from his porch. The neighborhood's watching, and she knows it. You've got nothing. She spits, but her voice cracks. I smile, slow and sharp. We'll see tomorrow. She backs off, slamming her door, and I feel it, her confidence is gone. The inspector's coming, the HOA's cracking, and her lies are unraveling. That night, I'm in bed, the key on my nightstand, replaying her panicked face. The restraining order was her last gasp, and it's failing. I check my cameras, nothing new, but I know she's plotting. Let her try. The shed's my trump card, and when the inspector opens it, she'll be exposed. The shift is seismic. I'm not just fighting her, I'm dismantling her life. The neighborhood's turned, the authorities are closing in, and I've got the key to her downfall. Tomorrow, I'll be there when the inspector arrives, ready to watch her world burn. She thought she could bully me out, but I'm the one ending this war. I'm standing in my new front yard at Carl's house, the morning sun harsh and unforgiving as the county inspector's truck pulls up to Jovita's curb. My heart's a drum pounding with the weight of what's coming. The key I tested in her shed's lock yesterday is about to unlock her secrets, and I'm here to watch it happen. The air smells of cut grass and her ever-present cigarette smoke, a reminder of every taunt, every attack she's thrown at me since I moved in. Her gasoline threat, the restraining order, lie the hooded goons she's cornered, and I'm delivering the final blow. But when her last-ditch effort to sabotage me explodes, it risks everything I've fought for, and I realize this war's cost is higher than I imagined. The inspector, a gruff guy named Harris, nods as I hand him the key and explain the old violation about hazardous materials in her shed. I keep it cool, citing the county record, but my pulse spikes when Jovita bursts out her front door, face twisted with panic. "What the hell's this?" she shouts, storming toward us. Harris holds up a hand, unmoved. "Ma'am, we're checking a reported violation." I stay silent, my phone recording catching her wild eyes darting to the shed. She knows I've got her. Tom's on his porch filming too, and Mrs. Ellis peeks from her window. The neighborhood's a jury, and Jovita's on trial. Harris heads to the shed, key in hand, and I follow, keeping my distance. Jovita's yelling now. "You can't do this. That's private property." But Harris ignores her, unlocking the padlock with a click that echoes like a gunshot. The door creaks open, and the stench hits chemicals sharp and sour. Inside, it's a mess, rusted cans, unlabeled bottles, and stacks of what look like old paint thinner, and pesticides, some leaking into the dirt floor. Harris frowns, jotting notes. "This is a code violation," he says. "Fire hazard, potential contamination." Jovita's face goes ashen, and I feel a surge of triumph. It's not just a fine, it's a legal hammer, and I dropped it. But her desperation ignites. As Harris calls for a hazmat team, Jovita rounds on me inches from my face, ignoring the restraining order. "You bitch," she hisses, spit flying. "You think this ends it? I'll ruin you." I step back, still recording, and say, "You're done, Jovita. The county's got you now." She lunges, grabbing my arm, nails digging in, but Tom's there in a flash, pulling her off. "Back off," he shouts, and she stumbles, eyes wild. Harris radios for a deputy, and I know it's over. She's crossed a line, and there are witnesses. The blowback comes that afternoon. I'm at my old house checking cameras when I get a call from Greg, the HOA vice president. "The Maureen vote's delayed," he says, voice tense. "Someone torched the HOA office last night. File's computer's gone." My stomach drops. The timing's no coincidence. Jovita's unhinged, and this reeks of her or her goons. My evidence folder, the one I sent to the HOA, was stored there. I rush to the community center where smoke still lingers, and Greg's with the fire marshal. Arson, the marshal confirms. Accelerant, likely gasoline. I think of Jovita's can from that night in her yard, and my blood runs cold. She's not just fighting me, she's burning everything to save herself. I'm shaking as I drive back, checking my cameras obsessively. My houses are untouched, but the message is clear: she's willing to destroy the neighborhood to stop me. I call the cops, share the shed footage, the gasoline threat, and my suspicions about the fire. They're skeptical but promise to investigate. Tom stops by, his face grim. "She's a cornered animal," he says. "Stay sharp." I nod, but I'm rattled. The shed was my checkmate, but this arson's her wild card, and it's cost me evidence and allies. The HOA's in chaos, and Maureen's dodging accountability. That night, I'm in Carl's house, the key on my nightstand. It's job done. The inspector's report will hit Jovita with fines, maybe criminal charges, but the fire's a reminder she's dangerous, and I'm not untouchable. I replay the day, her panic at the shed, her nails in my arm, the charred HOA office. I've won the battle, but the war's not over. She's got nothing left to lose, and I've got everything on the line: my homes, my safety, my fight. The realization cuts deep as I lie in bed, the house creaking around me. I've broken her grip, turned the neighborhood, and exposed her to the law. But at what cost? The fire's a warning. My victory's fragile. Tomorrow, I'll push the cops on the arson rally, Tom and Greg, to keep the pressure on. Jovita's crumbling, but she's still a threat, and I need to end this before she takes me down with her. I'm sitting on the porch of my new house, Carl's old place, watching the sunset bleed orange across the cul-de-sac, the air heavy with the scent of fresh-cut grass, and a quiet that feels like a hard-won truce. My hands are steady, but my heart's still scarred from yesterday's chaos, the inspector cracking open Jovita's shed, her desperate lunge at me, and the arson that torched the HOA office, nearly wiping out my evidence. She's been silent since no cigarette butts, no spray paint, no goons in hoodies. But I know she's not gone just licking her wounds. Today, I'm pushing for her surrender, and as the dust settles, I'm left grappling with what this war's cost me and what I've gained by standing my ground. The morning starts with a call from the sheriff's department. The deputy's voice is clipped. "We've got Jovita in custody." My breath catches. They matched the gasoline can from my footage to traces at the HOA fire, and her fingerprints were on a bottle of paint thinner in the shed. "She's facing arson and assault charges," he says, "plus county fines for the hazardous materials." I thank him. My voice calm, but inside, I'm reeling. It's real, she's done. I check my cameras, half expecting her to be lurking, but her house is dark, blinds shut. For the first time in months, I feel the weight lift, just a little. I head to Tom's house, needing to share the news. He's on his porch, coffee in hand, and grins when I tell him. "You nailed her," he says, but his eyes are serious. "You okay?" I shrug, admitting the truth, I'm not sure. The shed, the fire, her nails in my arm, it's all too raw. He nods, then hands me a USB drive. "Backup of your footage," he says, "just in case." I thank him, clutching it like a lifeline. Tom's been my rock, and I realize how much I've leaned on him, on Mrs. Ellis, on Greg. This wasn't just my fight, it was the neighborhood's, and we won it together. By afternoon, I'm at my old house cleaning the faint "Go Home" still etched on my garage door when Greg pulls up. The HOA's holding an emergency meeting tonight to oust Maureen and rebuild. "Your evidence tipped the scales," he says. Maureen's stepping down. I nod, but it's bittersweet. The fire destroyed half my file, and though the USB saves me, I'm tired of fighting, tired of proving I belong. Greg senses it, adds, "You change things, Kendra. People respect you." His words hit hard, a reminder that I didn't just survive Jovita. I reshaped this street. The climactic moment comes at dusk. I'm in my new yard planting tulips, defiant, non-compliant ones, when a car pulls into Jovita's driveway. It's not her, a woman maybe. Her sister steps out carrying boxes. I watch heart steady as she loads up, avoiding my gaze. A neighbor whispers to Tom, and he texts me. She's moving. I don't cheer. I don't gloat. I just keep planting the dirt cool under my fingers, each bulb a promise of peace. Jovita's surrender isn't a scream or a fight. It's this quiet exit, her empire crumbling without a sound. I've won, but the victory feels heavy, like a stone in my chest. That night, I'm at the HOA meeting, standing in the rebuilt community center, the smell of smoke gone, but the memory lingering. Maureen's gone, and Greg's leading, promising transparency. I speak, voice firm, sharing my story not for pity, but to warn no one should feel hunted in their own home. The crowd nods, some clapping, and I see Mrs. Ellis smile. I sit the USB drive in my pocket, a reminder of how close I came to losing it all. But I didn't. I fought, and I'm still here. The realization settles as I walk home, the cul-de-sac glowing under streetlights. Jovita's gone, her house empty, her threats silenced. I've reclaimed my peace, but it cost me sleepless nights, drained savings, a second mortgage, and scars I can't see. Yet I'm stronger for it. I stood up, turned neighbors into allies, and proved I belong. The tulips will bloom, the cameras will stay, but I'm done looking over my shoulder. She thought she could break me, but I broke her instead. I'm back on my porch, the stars sharp above the cul-de-sac, a glass of wine in my hand, as I breathe in the quiet I fought so hard for. Looking back, this war with Jovita wasn't just about her. It was about me, about refusing to let someone steal my home, my dignity. Every cigarette butt, every spray-painted threat, every sleepless night taught me something. I'm tougher than I thought. But God, it hurt. The rage, the fear, the moments I wondered if I'd lose everything they've left. Marks faint, but real, like cracks in a wall you learn to live with. Winning didn't erase the cost. My savings are gone. My nerves are frayed, and trust comes slower now. But standing up to her gave me something deeper, pride, the kind that burned steady, knowing I didn't run. I turned a neighborhood, found allies in Tom, Mrs. Ellis, Greg, and proved one person can shift the tide. Jovita's gone, her house dark, and I'm still here planting tulips, claiming my place. That's what matters. If you're dealing with someone toxic next door, please believe me. You're not crazy, and you're not alone. You don't have to fight like I did, but don't let them dim your light. Find your allies, keep your proof, and hold your ground. You're stronger than you know, and you deserve peace. I found mine, and I'm holding it tight, one quiet night at a time.